Well, good morning, all you beautiful love streamers out there on Facebook, YouTube, and Zoom. We want to welcome you to the Center for Spiritual Living Charlotte. Hi, I am your host, Horace. And if this is your first time, we want you to know that we are delighted that you have chosen to join us today. With modern technology, we are extremely grateful for this opportunity to touch so many lives, especially as we share those wonderful happenings here at CSO Charlotte. So please feel free to visit our website, csoCharlotte.org, put in a prayer request, and subscribe. We add to our recordings each and every week and to our website. So please just tell us more about you, and we're going to tell you what's going on about us here at CSO Charlotte. So here's what we want you to know. The Center for Spiritual Living Charlotte is a new thought community living in ancient wisdom philosophy based on the science of mind. This science of mind philosophy was developed in the early 20th century by writer and lecturer Ernest Holmes. Dr. Holmes was a man on a mission. He studied truths from all of the world's religious traditions and spiritual paths. Holmes developed a fresh new way for us to look at ourselves and how we fit into our world. He's been referred to as the great synthesizer. At CSO Charlotte, we want you to know that every philosophy is honored along with every race, sexual orientation, and physical distinction. We are a diverse, open, and affirmative community. There are many paths to the divine. We can call it God, peace, love, spirit, infinite mind, or the I am presence. It really doesn't matter what you call it. Just that know that this is your power that resonates within you. You do not have to leave your philosophy or nature of knowledge. You can join us at any time. We recognize and refer to many of the Holy Scriptures, such as the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, the Upanishads, and the Bhagavad Gita. And that's just to name only a few. So our vision statement here at CSO Charlotte is to continue a spiritual community, creating and preparing a succession of future leaders who can fully integrate, teach, and expose the science of mind principles, messages, and practices that strengthen the mind, body, and spirit of individuals. One of our aims is to create a high collective consciousness for everyone in this community. We teach everyone the tools to do just that. So come and join us as we meet each Tuesday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to tell you more about that when we talk about opportunities, because it is an awesome time to come together to go deeper into what we just talk about here on Sunday in a few moments. So welcome and enjoy our service as we celebrate this powerful being which lives within each and every one of us. So before I pass the mic over to our illustrious and fabulous spiritual leader, I want you to know, first of all, today's theme is sustaining your inner landscape. Let me say that again. Today's theme is sustaining your inner landscape. And I want to leave you with this thought before I pass it over to our wonderful leader. Throughout your life, your inner landscape presents its contents to you again and again. When you are aware of all its elements, you are in continual communication with your soul. And that's from Gary Zukov. And now I'm going to pass the mic over to our fabulous, illustrious leader, Reverend Rosedale.
Whoa, Horace, you be hitting it. Hi, boy, let me tell you, you and your quotes, man. I don't know where you find them, but love it. But I know Zukov very well. But anyway, thank you, our fabulous and awesome MC and our operations coordinator, Horace DeBush. Anyway, I just want to say, this is a great day. Anytime we're above ground, we're into a great day. Wouldn't you agree? So anyway, to all our YouTube listeners and our virtual community and everybody everywhere, because sometimes you're on YouTube watching us and you're tuning in there, welcome. Welcome to the Center of Spiritual Living Charlotte and the Mind Body Spirit Center. So, for the first thing we do at our spiritual community is we open up our Sunday celebration with an affirmative prayer. Now, since we're all about sustaining, me and my words, since we're all about sustaining your inner landscape today, we have first on our platform the person who's going to do the affirmative prayer to open us up. So our birthday girl of the week, we all had to chime in and give her love this week, is our emeritus spiritual practitioner, Maureen Thurston, aka Mo. Now, what I know is somebody wants to know what sustaining your inner landscape is all about. If you want to be open to what sustaining your inner landscape is all about, go to our website right now. Mo will send you an email in your inbox about sustaining your inner landscape in the form of a prayer for you to read anytime you want. Now, here's the deal. You have to put in a prayer request in order to get that email into your inbox. So go to our website because this is what I tell you. If you have not received a prayer request from Mo, a prayer from Mo, you have not put in a prayer request. So Mo, let it rip, my dear.
Okay, thank you. So let's just take a moment to just still the quiet voice within us, knowing that as we step into this service today, that there is within each and every one of us that divine element of spirit that shows up individually as who we are, and yet collectively as the congregation for CSL Charlotte. And so I know that as we come into this place of togetherness for this service, I know that each and every one of us are filled to our heart's content with the message from Reverend Rosedale this morning. I know that everything about this service runs smoothly and easily and is absolutely seamless. So as I open up this time of celebration with each and every one of you, I release this into that state of law, knowing that it is done, knowing it is already manifesting within each and every one of our lives. And together we can lock it in by simply saying, and so it is.
Wow. And so it is. So thank you, Mo, for that beautiful prayer. And next on our platform is Geraldine Campbell. But you know, she's our reader, but her name is Jerry. I just made it simple, right? But her name is Jerry, but I can only call her Groovy G because I love that name for her. She just, bam. So one of the things I see clearly about Groovy is that working on herself consciously, I know sustaining her inner landscape is pretty easy because I know her very well. So she herself is on track for spiritual practitioner as well, and she's on a mission. And I see she got this staying power now, where she is going to use that staying power. So she's sustaining her inner landscape all the time. So listen to her reading today. And when you do, open up and be receptive to what sustaining your inner landscape is all about. And you will, I promise you. After Groovy's reading, listen to the song Believe by Fearless Soul. For best results, make sure that you understand that this is all about sustaining your inner landscape. The song, Believe, okay? And you have to believe in yourself, okay? So Groovy, make it do what it do.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. Our reading today is called A Clue to Manifesting Your Best Life, and that's written by our very own Reverend Rosedale Jones. It is important to nurture our inner landscape, just as we care for our physical surroundings, just as cleaning up your house or shining your car can feel good because it looks good. Our inner world, often referred to as the spirit within, plays a big role in our outward manifestation based on how we perceive, and interact with the world around us. Our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs shape our inner landscape, influencing how we manifest our reality. When we align our perspective with positivity and clarity, our inner spirit responds by reflecting our vibrations outward. Conversely, when we align our perspective with fear, worry, or looking down on ourselves, our inner spirit responds by reflecting those vibrations outwardly as well. Remember, your inner spirit says to everything and reflects to the outside world exactly what you are feeling inside. Be mindful of your perspective, which is simply the way you look at life. Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. By tending to our inner landscape with mindfulness and intentional nurturing, you create a harmonious inner and outer environment for growth and transformation. Keep transforming your life. You will be much happier for it. The following is a quote from Reverend Rosedale Jones. Our spirit within is our unique authority figure that says yes to everything. And so it is.
Powerful. Let's start with a 2 minute or less centering. Relax your eyes for a moment, and if you want to look into your lap, that's fine, or close them, but it's your choice. Breathe in really, really deeply, and as you breathe in really deep, feel that expansion in your body. And as you exhale, feel the relaxation coursing through all of your veins. Because feel a soul just sang that song. You have to believe in yourself and your ability. And one of the things what makes it easier is to actually breathe it in and exhale it out. Because also fearless soul says you're capable. Now, music is something that we hear and we listen to, but we begin to believe that. So you're capable. This world has been living a limited life for far too long. And the song says life is not always about sadness and misery. Just control how you feel. See, over time, if you keep doing that and practicing and learning how, you will find yourself amazed at how great you are at easily sustaining your inner landscape. So remember, every step you take towards transformation gets you closer to sustaining your inner landscape. The fact that my clients who are becoming aware of their inner landscape really, really makes me feel accomplished because they get it. When I see people's lights come on, believe in yourself and your ability because it's all there. You know what? Everybody knows it. The reason why they get it is because they want it. And so once you begin to believe, you'll realize that I can't have it unless I can believe it and accept it. Or I can only receive what I can believe and accept. So I just have one question. Just for today, can you believe and accept your greatness? Take it one day at a time. But you're at choice though, because see, whether you choose to learn the spiritual practices and use them daily in order for you to regain your sustaining inner landscape, just know, take control of how you feel. And then find out one morning and when you really actually practice and say, is it calling to me yet? More questions you ask, the more answers you receive. So wiggle your fingers and your toes and integrate your mind, your body, and your spirit. And as you float your eyes open or bring them back to the attention, find something in your space that connects you to this present moment. In the meantime, I'm going to take a gratitude moment and thank you, Horace the Bush, because you being the MC and being our fearless coordinator, always making sure we run like a well-oiled machine. I just am so much grateful for you. And so thank you, Mo, for that beautiful prayer. I'm so grateful for you, always standing by, waiting for those people to send in that prayer request. Do it now, because you're going to get an answer. And thank you, Groovy, because you know your reading actually what was the name of your reading? A Clue to Manifesting Your Best Life by yours truly. It just really pointed the way to sustaining your inner landscape. So now let's just focus on our inner landscape. And here's some things about it. You see, the path to our most authentic way to live starts with recognition. But you know something else? Oh, it just came to my mind. The first step that we teach all the time in our classes of the spiritual mind treatment is to recognize that power. And so when we recognize our own inner landscape, that power has come alive. So we have to observe our inner landscape. I always point to this because it's right by the heart, but I can point down at the belly, but I want you to see, I'm pointing inside. But here's the thing, when we get into that inner landscape and we use curiosity and awareness, the power that's within us, oh my God, it's activated. And you know what? Then we start to recognize that, wow, you've been with me all along. We're no separation. There's no separation between us and this. As we start this new path or this new journey or whatever we're going towards, but we're using it because we're going to go toward our authenticity, our authentic way of being. And then we get to notice when we start to be really authentic, we start to notice changes in certain areas of our life. So it's best to begin. It's real important. I know we weren't taught this, but we got to unlearn what you think you knew. And you got to begin to start with that imagination and self-reflection. Got to look in here, feel in here. You see, you know, you can see, you can feel, you can smell, you can even taste. But don't look at it on a level that, well, I don't actually see it. Oh, I don't taste it. No. Those are your senses. And I a lot of times I say, you got to use a sense to be able to see, feel, taste, touch, or know about this power or what it's got in store for you. Because I ask my clients questions and I love going deep with them to get them to answer their insights. But I say to people, if you don't see yourself moving on your journey, how are you going to know whether you're on it? And which one are you on? You got to be specific. So if you don't know what you want looks like, if you don't know what you want looks like, did I say that right? If you don't know what you want looks like, you're not going to know how it feels when you get it. Because the only reason why we want things is how we'll feel with having them. The only reason why we want peace is because how we'll feel with having it. That's why. And I love my word, love. I love love because that's who I am. But the only way I can know it's love is I know what it feels like to have it. And I can't give it without it. And see, that's why it's important to do the work that I do constantly on myself. I'm evolving every single day. And it doesn't mean I'll ever be to a point where I'm here. Oh no, because just like water, oxygen, and everything else, you need spiritual practice to live. Oh, I'm clear. You should, if you knew whence I've come, you would know. See, your inner landscape reveals things to you through your most dominant senses. You can be visual, you can be kinesthetic, you can be olfactory, you can even have taste. Because all of those things have their way of telling you the answer, but you got to start tuning in. And you got to cultivate this inner landscape because it's an ongoing process. It's not today I did a spiritual practice. It is every day. No matter what physical senses you are most dominant in your consciousness, you have the ability to hear from this power. It's simply a matter of remaining open and dedicated to your spiritual practices. When you learn them, oh my God, you don't learn them right away. Oh my God, everything doesn't just happen. And they happen justly. They don't just happen, they happen justly. So I get revelations from my inner realm by using all my senses at times. You know, I see, I feel, I smell, I even taste things. But they're all my insights. And you know what else? The more we observe, we question, and what happens is we become more attuned, because anytime you ask a question, don't you listen? If you ask me a question, are you going to look at me and listen? Well, if you ask yourself a question, you're going to look at them. You're going to look at you, because that means you're attuned. And see, what happens is that's when we learn and discover our inherent power, because it's always been in there from the onset of the day we came to be, before we came to be in utero, the conception. So just remember that inner landscape is all you got. So just like we persistently go, I'm going to clean up the house, and I'm going to clean my car, and I'm going to wash my clothes and all these outside things. Well, you know what? It's just as important to actually nurture this side in here, the inner realm, the spirit realm, whatever you choose to call it. See, here's what the beginning of Groovy's reading said. It said, it's important to nurture our inner landscape just as we care for our physical surroundings, because you can be cleaning up your house or shining up your car, but the reason that you're doing that is it feels good from within. You got to know the feeling. It's the healing. When you feel good, you do good. Is that good English? I don't care. But you know what? In our outer world, we are being affected by what's going on in here. In here, if you want to know how you're doing, how is your life, where is it at, look inside. Because that's what it is. So if you look around and you're not happy what you see, go within, because that plays a big role in our outward manifestation. And it's really based on how we perceive and interact with the world around us. Well, I agree with that, Groovy. I agree with that, because I'm the write-up. Yes, indeed. So anyway, our inner spirit is influenced by our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. These influences are what it takes to get the manifestations we want. But let me just tell you, you will get the manifestations that's in here. Now, if you're in fear and if you don't believe, you're going to get those manifestations of raggedy stuff. If you're in love, or all the goodness is coming through you, you're going to get those fabulous ones. But you're going to call it raggedy. You may not. But spiritual practices is the thing that unlock your full potential so you can attract what you truly desire. And sorry, but if you're looking at the things in a certain way, half glass, half empty, you're desiring that. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. It's our responsibility to develop a confident mindset and nurture that balance between the emotional state and the thought state. It's essential for us to be mindful and aware of our inner landscape, because our outer environment it's going to show exactly what's going on. So I want to tell you that these influences that we have come from our thoughts, our feelings, emotions, ego, and consciousness. So let me just digress for a second here, if I may. The Bible doesn't use the exact language like sustaining your inner landscape, but it still provides guidance on cultivating a deep, vibrant spiritual life. So, like for example, Proverbs 4:23 says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. That verse emphasizes the importance of protecting your innermost heart. You know, the Bible is great for that. It really does help you, even though it doesn't say those words, using the imagination. Because let me just say one more thing about spirituality, and spirituality is the best part about being human. That's why I developed a habit to protect my innermost being. When I'm talking to people, when I'm talking to me, that's me. And when I'm dealing with the world around me. See, we are in our second week of our self-mastery class, and we are hitting those elements that I talked about, the consciousness, the feelings, the ego, the thought and emotions. Because let me tell you something, when you master those five things, you are a self-mastery guru. Okay. So now, that's exactly what it's all about. So here's what I want to say now that I've made sure, I'm sure that you got that. We stayed on task, but you know what? This decision to get on task lies solely in your hands. Remember, your inner landscape designs your outer environment. So now that we've delved into that, let's look at the importance of the celebration that we do. So we talked about sustaining our inner landscape, but know that we have a celebration, and this is our last week of celebrating Black History Month. So let's shift the focus for a minute, and then we're going to talk about these empowering inspirations that's going to come from somebody, because today we have the privilege of welcoming our very own Jackie Cox. She's a representative of a different generation. She's like my daughter. And she's going to share her insights and ideas about this Black History Month. And it's fitting how it's on the last day of the month. So let's embrace the opportunity of this beautiful young person, fresh perspective, and let her enriching presentation come forth and show us where she's at. We get to hear her. Jackie, do what it do.
So I'm going to go ahead and dive in. My name is Jackie, J Goddess, J. It's an honor to be able to speak today on Black History Month, especially. Rosedale, thank you so much for the introduction, and welcome anyone that's new. Yeah, J Goddess, absolutely. So I'm going to start out today with just three words that came to mind when Rosedale came to me and gave me the opportunity to speak. Black, gay, and gifted. The reason I really wanted to just call out these three words is because there might be someone in the room today who might be able to relate to being Black, gay, and gifted. And in my experience, there really hasn't been anyone that looked like me that I could look to for advice or guidance that I could really trust, right? Because I grew up in a predominantly white town, and I was the first minority homecoming queen at my school. I was also a gay athlete. So it was kind of the best of both worlds when it comes to being as diverse as you can be. Now, I grew up in a town called Chesapeake, Ohio. And Chesapeake, Ohio is very, very small. It's a population of about 700 people. Because of the fact that it was predominantly white, I actually began doing a lot of research as a child. I mean, I was literally 10, 11, 12 years old when I began to ask questions that led me to some really powerful information and insights. And I'm going to just start out with a quote from Harriet Tubman. In my dreams and visions, I seemed to see a line. And on the other side of that line were green fields, lovely flowers, beautiful white ladies who stretched out their arms to me over the line. But I couldn't reach them no how. I always fell before I got to the line. That is very, very relatable. Okay. For me, when I came into the rooms of CSL Charlotte, I was I was living the vision. It was as if I had manifested finally all of the things that I had always dreamed of when it comes to the music career that I have. I mean, music had always been my form of connection. When I felt like growing up, I didn't have anyone that I could relate to. Music was always there for me, and I would receive these messages, and I didn't know who they were coming from, but it turns out it was spirit. It was spirit, and so the beautiful thing about learning to do that research to understand who it is that you are on the inside, who you are beneath the body. Who are you whenever you close your eyes? What do you hear? Who are the voices that are in your head? These are the things that really define who you are. And we're in a world that makes us kind of think that it's the way we dress, how much money we have, the jobs we work, whether you have children or not, as a woman, whether you get married to a man and have kids. These are some of the stereotypes, right, that I've seen throughout time that I begin to ask myself internally. I would think, is this really the way things should be? And not that I'm defiant, but I genuinely wanted to have the confidence that the information I'm basing my life decisions on is reliable information. And I feel like with, the quote that I read to you, this is sort of the segue into that moment for me when I began to realize, wait, history repeats itself. Even though I'm free, I'm not a slave, and I'm able to go to public school, I'm able to do a lot of things that my ancestors were not able to do. There are still a lot of things that I can envision and I can see, but I just can't seem to touch, right? And so what I committed my life to was finding the truth. I began to do different types of experiments in my own life. So, for example, I got a job at a tech company at a very low level position, and I managed to climb my way up this company without actually completing a college degree. But people had told me the whole time, in order for you to get from A to B, you have to take these very specific steps. But it turns out there's no magical formula for success. And most importantly, there's no limit to what you can accomplish. And sometimes these voices or these ideas that come into your mind, the ones that seem absolutely absurd, end up being, more often than not, the ideas and the creations that can not just change your own life, but even help others around you. So it's really important to trust what inspires you. And it's really important for people in this generation, especially people of color. You might have seen a flyer that I passed around, and I was kind of tagging on Facebook yesterday for this event with saying Black, gay, and gifted. That's because I wanted to make sure that there's a record. There's something on file that shows there was this interracial lesbian in 2024 who had the opportunity to speak on behalf of a spiritual organization. There are people out here that will provide a platform. There are people now that have doors open, and now is the time for people like you and me, the people that are different, the people who never fit in. Now is the time for us to come together and speak up, share our ideas, and just know that we're not alone. And I know I'm gonna go ahead and start to wrap this up a little bit, but I just want to again reiterate, it is incredibly important to trust what inspires you. And if you feel in your heart that something that someone says to you maybe is not right, for me, just to be on theme with, Black History Month, and the fact that I never want us to forget the fact that, slavery really didn't get abolished all that long ago. And even interracial marriage, it wasn't really technically legal until 2001. So it's not really been a whole long time. So it's really important for us to never forget where we came from, so that in the future, if things start to emerge, there are people that are willing to stand up and say, hey, I don't actually believe in this, or hey, have we tried this yet? So I'm going to read a couple more quotes from Harriet Tubman and wrap it up. But what I wanted to encourage everyone to do, find something that you can do today to learn about your genealogy. Do something that can teach you about, whether, even if it's not your DNA, or figuring out who your relatives are. What we need to do is find what it is we want in life. Make a list of 3 things that make you happy. I want everyone to do that today. I want you to make a list of 3 things that make you happy, 3 things that make you feel fulfilled. If you can't answer that question, figure out it's something to do some research on, because that's science is how we change the world. And now I am a compliance analyst for NBC Universal. So my job literally is to now make sure that anything happening in society, any news stories that get published on NBC News, that it is all fact-based, it's research-based, that it's not any kind of fake news. So this is a dream come true and true manifestation, and an example of what can happen when you do apply yourself, when you put effort into getting to know who it is on the inside, who your spirit is. And so with that, I'm just gonna go ahead and pull this up real quick. I looked at my hands to see if I was the same person. There was such a glory over everything. The sun came up like gold through the trees, and I felt like I was in heaven. I'm going to go ahead and leave it with that. And, West Virginia, people always call it almost heaven, West Virginia. And I can assure you, coming from someone that, if you look up my music, J Goddess, you can find my website, jgoddessmusic.com, to learn more. It truly is almost heaven. And it was that piece, that little glimpse of heaven that I found as a child through my music, mile across the bridge from West Virginia, that gave me the understanding that it was possible to live a life where you weren't feeling every day like you were literally in hell. Heaven does exist, and it's not in the afterlife. It's here, it's now. And so I hope you find it. Thank you so much for allowing me to share. And I hope someone finds this video, whether it's someone that's coming out of the closet. I don't even care if you're a person of color or indigenous, not indigenous. I don't care about your race. But particularly when it comes to sexuality, there were no examples. When I looked around the media, when I looked in history books, no one looked like me. So I really know in my heart, somebody is going to find this video, whether it's them or their parent or a family member that doesn't know how to support someone that's close to them. This is a sign. Please don't ignore it. Have a great day.
Jackie, if anybody have communicated with her since she's been here, it's been me, and she's a visionary. Thank you, Jackie, for that awesome presentation. And I know what you're knowing you're going to do. She is all about raising the level of CSL Charlotte's recognition, hers and all of us. And she's also thinking to get more and more people attracted to CSL Charlotte because of their anything. This is a diverse community, and I see she's sold on that fact. So thank you, Jackie, for all that you said and done, and awesome. Thank you so much. So before our next song, let's do this. Let's consider. Can you imagine meditating to the point where you can actually feel, hear, taste, touch, or know something? I think that's what Jackie did, based on what she just said. She might have been a little nervous this week. Sure. But I'm telling you, imagine that. And when I think about spiritual practice or meditation, I think of going beyond the moments right here and right now of these present circumstances. Then later on today or later on during the week, start hearing the things you need to do. Start hearing what you need to do, because as I wrap up for this next song, I'm really gearing you to it. This is how CSL Charlotte gets deep. Listen to the next song that you hear and see if you can imagine Spirit calling you. And after this song, check on a few points and you'll hear it, Spirit. Can you hear it calling? Wow, I heard some points in that song. She said, your destiny is close. And she said, go stand off in a far land. I have to tell you, because I know people don't hear all the words, but she said, stand off in a far land and be with the great I am. If you go to the beach, if you go out in nature, wherever you go, Spirit calls. Where do you think she was talking about? That's far land. So when you practice enough, you really listen. You will hear Spirit coming through your dominant senses. And can't you just try, just for today, like I asked earlier, to see the presence, to feel the presence, to taste it, and to even smell the presence of the stars standing by your side as you're just sitting there contemplating life. That's all meditation is. It's a practice, one of them. Awesome sauce. Everything has just been fabulous. I'm not going to be brief about the birthdays, because you know how I know this is the day we came to be, but this is the moment to spotlight birthdays. Now, you know your birthday, I don't, so jot down your birthday, the month and the day in chat while you're here. And then if you're on YouTube, you want to jot it down, your month and your day on YouTube. So now I get to do what I love to do most, and that is give the big gratitude shout outs to our platform team. So this morning we had Horace the Bush. He is our operations coordinator and MC at times. And our opening and closing prayer today was Mo. She literally sent her love out to all of us and to the world in her prayer. And then we had our reader, Groovy G, who once started way back in the day as a person with many questions. Even though she still has questions, because I will always be a student and I will always have questions myself. Even though she still asks a lot of questions, she's still into that staying power. So I have to say, and not only that, Groovy makes sure that our whole set back here is nice and calm and easy going. She keeps it clean. Matter of fact, I call her the cleanup woman, you know. And then we had our music so done so well by my right-hand man, A-Team Allen, you know, that's what he is. And also, we had Timmy P, our pilot. He's always somewhere. He was making sure the spotlighting was done, and he was making sure everything got itself done. And of course, I always have to thank Mo for keeping up, putting in her prayers for us, sending them out there to people who's requesting them. Because you see, a community that prays together stays together. And I have to also say that if you have not received a prayer from Mo, you didn't put in a prayer request. Now, there's one more person I want to talk about, and that is Jackie. Jackie has a lot of dreams and she got a lot of visions. And I love when young people get lit. And so let me tell you something, because when she gets to where I am, baby, she's going to be a force to reckon with. Okay. So this is what I know. And I'm still going to be living. So I'm not going nowhere. I'm just saying, I thank her so much. I thank her for, I woke up this morning and I saw that she had put into she took one of my posts and put music to it, and it's on Instagram. This girl, she just looks for CSL Charlotte to blossom, the same as Alan was saying in his announcements. So just know that. So I think I hit everybody. Did I? So before we close out, remember that today was all about sustaining your inner landscape. Good God, you got to do that. So let this last song encourage you to train that inner voice. You know how to do it. You do it through spiritual practice. If you don't understand it, that's why we have classes. That's why we have the consciousness meeting. If you don't want to take part of that, you will. Because you know what? This is all I know. This last song is going to teach you something else. What you gotta be. That's this next song. And when you find out that you can be one of them, you just keep on moving. You just keep on chucking, because the better it gets, the better it gets, is all I can tell you. So reflect on your spiritual practice and reflect on sustaining your inner landscape for the rest of the week as we get to this next song, as you really take the power from this woman, Desiree. You gotta be cool. You gotta be calm. You gotta be tough. You gotta get wiser. Because when you get all of that, love will save the day. That's what you gotta be. You gotta be all of that. You can't be just one thing, So as we close out, be multi something, right? Be a lot of things. Don't be just thinking of one thing. Well, this week I gotta do this. No, you gotta do it all. You gotta be calm. You gotta be cool. You gotta be tough. You got to get stronger. You got to do all of that. And while you're doing that this week, make sure you remember those words. What I got to be. Because you know why? In order to become somebody better than you've ever been, guess what you got to do? You have to be someone better than you've ever been. So just remember, I'm trying to do that. Get to the gotta be's. So with that being said, my music, it's our lovely, fabulous, awesome, emeritus practitioner, Mo.
Thank you for the wonderful message, Reverend Rosedale. I know that I will be carrying it forward into my work week, and will share the wisdom that you've shared with us, with those around me. So I know that as we take the time here to celebrate the closing of this service and the message that we all received today, I know that each one of us goes into our week with clarity, with surety, with joy, laughter, and love for our lives and for how we get to show up. We get to choose that every day. So I am filled with gratitude, love, light, and wish all of us a wonderful week ahead of time. And so as I release this into the law, I know that it is already manifesting within each and every one of our lives, and is done with ease and grace and simplicity, just by taking that life-affirming breath every moment. So I release, I let go, I let God, and I call this service blessed and complete. And so it is.
Thank you so much. It is all of that and a bag of chips, Mo. Thank you so much for closing us out. And I'm wondering, as we leave for the week, can we each think of anything that we might want to do as this week come, or maybe can we think of an insight that we might have heard or something like that. And I think I have an insight that I found out even before the service, how powerful my relationship is to myself and to everyone here. So I'm going to continue being there for each and every person here. That's what I'm saying. Adieu, everybody. Have a great rest of the week. And knowing that all is for you, all you got to do is really what I got to be so you can be what you want to be. And so it is, everybody. Have a great rest of your week.